Have you seen posts on people pleasing? Well, I'm sure that you must have come across one or two posts that may have talked about how trauma leads to people pleasing. But does that mean that everyone has gone through trauma and that's why they are pleasing others? Well, I am Disha Manchekar. I am a psychologist, trauma therapist, and coach. Today I am going to answer these questions. So stay with me. Let's go. First, let's understand trauma. Now, not everything is trauma. Trauma is a response, it is not the event. Just remember this. As I am saying that trauma is a response, that means the response that we give out to that horrific event that we are experiencing. Now, again, if we are not able to process that trauma response, then the response gets stored in our body, in our mind, thoughts, emotions. This trauma response is further divided in 4 types: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn response. The fawn response is the lesser known of all the trauma responses. The fawn response is nothing but people pleasing. That's how trauma and people pleasing are interconnected. So let's understand how this fawn response or people pleasing gets developed. I will give you an example of a child who is in an environment where exposed to abuse, violence, or the primary caregivers are having inconsistent mood swings, which makes the child feels very unsafe, feels as if the child is not protected enough. Now, if we think of children, their basic needs also consist of safety apart from love and care. So here, if the child is exposed to such a vulnerable, unsafe environment, then the child is going to respond. This response, if it is a fawn response, then the child will become a people pleaser where the child is pleasing the abuser or the violent caregiver or the inconsistent mood swings caregiver. Why the child does this? Okay, we understood that the child is responding, but again, why? It's because the child thinks that if they please the violent person or the abuser, then the harm will reduce. Now, again, is the child doing this at a conscious level? No. All of this happens at an unconscious level. It is the protective mechanism that gets developed in the child. This is where people pleasing starts. So, what happens to the child when they grow up? These adults continue with people pleasing. Sadly, this mechanism does not go away just like that with age. Yes, you heard me. These adults develop a very weak sense of themselves. It's as if like they do not have a self-worth. They are attaching their self-worth to those people who they are attached to. Their needs, their wants are also connected to these people. It's as if they do not have any say in their lives. Whatever others decide for them, that's the truth for their lives. So it's no surprise that these adults find themselves attracting toxic relationships that are not good. Their partners would be either abusive, emotionally, mentally, physically, or sexually, or they are violent, they have inconsistent moods, or they are narcissistic. Yes, they attract such partners, and then they wonder that why am I attracting such relationships? Why can't I be in healthier relationships? Because they never learned how to be in a healthier relationship, because this fawn response was just so strong in their lives that it is very difficult for them to do that. Now, again, talking about the relationships that they attract, these relationships can also be codependent in nature. Now, what does that mean? That means depending on their partners to decide for their lives. So, you may see that, one of the partner is always asking the other partner, shall I do this? Shall I think that way? Am I feeling the right emotions? What do you think? Let's say they are going to a restaurant. Even there, they hesitate to order a dish for themselves. So they will ask their partner, what do you think? What do you want? What do you feel like eating? What is your favorite dish? Yes, this is my favorite dish too. They just don't know about themselves. It's more about what others want, what others are deciding for them, and what others think of them. Oh, you think about this, right? So, this must be right about me. And they will continue with the people pleasing habit. Well, yes, I call it as a habit because this mechanism ultimately develops into a habit which is very difficult to let go of. So, does that mean people pleasing is here to stay? The trauma is here to stay? No, it is not. If you want to heal, then a very good starting point would be to become self-aware. Ask yourself these questions. Am I pleasing them? Or am I being kind to them? Or do I genuinely want to help them? Second question you must ask is, am I being my true self? Am I being my authentic self? Do I know what my thoughts are, emotions are, how I feel in my body? Do I know what my values are, what my wants are or needs in this life? What do I aspire to become? What kind of a relationship I truly want to be in? What kind of a partner I want to be? What kind of a career I want to have? Think about all these questions, and if you struggle to come up with an answer, if you struggle to let go of people pleasing, then I urge you to work with a trauma therapist. If you do not find a good trauma therapist, then I urge you to contact a psychologist who is trauma informed. I'm sure that they will be able to help you. If you liked my content, then do subscribe to my channel. I make content on mental wellness. And yes, if you want to know more about trauma or any of the trauma responses, then do let me know in the comments and I will make a content on it. So see you next time.